Good afternoon and welcome to another day of opportunities, possibilities, miracles, and choices. Greeting you again this day with the greetings of respect. Good to be here, good to have you in this mindful community with us. I begin always by thanking you for listening, for continuing to view, for sharing all the ones that you did from last week, for continuing to share comments, either you sharing a video or you're sharing some content from the video. I appreciate that and I thank you so much for doing that. I want to start off by asking you, how did things go for you last week? We started what was the very first, and we had a lot of views. That was great. There was a lot of people viewed us on that one. How did that go for you with your unleashing the power to scream? We talked about it. It's okay just to scream. Did you do that? Did you find somewhere that was safe and appropriate for you just to holler out loud to manage something? Because this whole series that we've just started is about how to manage difficult situations when you sometimes run out of words, you don't know what else to say. Did you sing? In tune, out of tune? Did you just sing and feel better after you did that? Did you have somewhere that you could go shout out loud? A concert that you enjoyed watching or attending, or some sports event of your children, of your friends, or some professional athletes? Did you do that? Did you find somebody that you could speak out to? Tell them honestly how you feel, to get it out so that you could feel just a little bit better. I sure hope so. I hope you had the conversation with somebody, because if you didn't need it, probably somebody in your circle needed to have some kind of way to find relief or release for what they were going through. And I know since the last time we were together, some of you have experienced some things. I'm sorry for those who have experienced losses or separations or frustrations since that time. So I'm hoping that this can help. I want to add in, I want to thank all those who have been supporting my outside events that I do, different projects in Newport News, Virginia. Thank those who support either by attending or sending a word of encouragement and support for what I'm doing. That is very powerful and very helpful to me. Just your encouragement helps thousands of others to be well and to do well. So thank you for that. So as we relax and breathe, it kind of made me smile as I think about what I was going to share with you this time, because there's an expression that probably dates me, because I haven't heard this in a very long time. There's an expression that people used to make that used to say, go take a hike. Yeah, you ever heard that? They don't say it anymore, I don't think, but you heard that before, right? Well, that's actually what this moment of relaxing and breathing is about. You can't do it now because you'll miss the video, but maybe after it plays sometime today or in the next week, take a walk. And to take a walk, I'm suggesting that you unplug, disconnect. So you don't carry your phone, you don't carry any devices, you don't have your head plugs in your ear. And I'm not talking about when you say, well, I'll just walk to the store. I'm talking about take a walk with the intention of doing nothing but being present in your walk. I'm not talking about walking for exercise, even though there will be some exercise involved. I'm talking about strolling, taking it easy and just walking. Now, it's going to feel a little different if you haven't been accustomed to doing that, because you typically don't see people just strolling along. They're walking the dog, or they're hurrying up trying to get somewhere, or from one place to another. If you work downtown in Chicago, it's all the time. Maybe in some of the smaller rural areas, you may still see people going for a walk. I know when I'm visiting home in Thompson, Georgia, I see people strolling and sometimes still doing that. But try it. Try and see if you can be present taking a walk without headphones. Listen to the sounds of nature, not the sounds of music in your radio, your iPad or some pod or something. Smells, the sights that are there, and see how relaxing that you can become if you just relax and breathe and take a walk. Try that. Let me know what happens. You may have this in your program already, but I'm going to think that there's probably very few that still find the time or make the time to do something as simple as taking a walk. So let's get to our part 2 of this series. I'm kind of excited because this is the first time on live I've decided to do a series. So we dealt with Scream last week, singing, shouting, speaking out about things, how to manage difficult situations. But I thought that I would ask you the same question that I typically ask all of my groups whenever I'm with a group. If you hear exactly what it is that you need to hear to help you manage a difficult situation that you may be personally experiencing, are you willing to do it? If it means adjusting your attitude, your behavior, or even the company that you keep, are you willing to do something different? If you actually hear what it is that you need, or are you one that's going to continue to do kind of what you've been doing and just kind of hope that that fits and that makes a difference for that? How important even is it when you think about that situation? Because this whole series is about crisis intervention and managing those difficult and challenging moments that may come up. How serious and important is it for you that you resolve this issue? On a scale of 1 to 10. And here's a way to help you decide how important and serious it is. In the last week, when you think about that situation that's critical, have you actually done anything to change it other than complaining about it or talking about it to someone else? In the last 7 days, what have you actively done to address this situation that causes frustration and pain for you? Something to think about. Interesting, my dog just came in the room and thought he would listen in on this particular mindful moment. He definitely has some things he needs to work out. Okay, so the next part of this has to do with the C. The C stands for creating. When you have that moment, when you have that period of time where you're going through something and you just don't know how you're going to handle it, create something. Find a way to unleash your creativity. Maybe it's creating and writing a poem. Maybe it's creating and writing music. Maybe it's creating and writing a story. I work with many veterans, and oftentimes they say, and some of those are listening now who are overseas deployed, and they say that sometimes what helps them manage difficult situations of missing families and not seeing their children being born or reaching new points, or they say sometimes just, even though they can't play, just trying to create music with a guitar or something helps them to manage that. Creating a new style of dress, maybe, just to try something different, designing a new type of food, creating something different. As a matter of fact, can you think about someone who you know who was going through something in their life, and one of the things that helped you realize it is when they created a new style for themselves? Maybe you see them, one day they look one way, next time you see them, they've cut all the hair off. Wait, what's going on with you? They're trying to find a way to resolve something, and they're creating something different in themselves. They may cut their hair off, may cut all of it off on one side, let it long on the other side. All kinds, may change the color of it or do so. Find a way to be creative and create something, and the act of creation might help you manage a difficult moment. But in order for you to do that, you have to unleash your imagination. You have to unleash that part of your brain that allows you to think freely as you did when you were a child. And just use your imagination, because it's a tool that will help you to be able to create during difficult situations. If you don't unleash your imagination, then when you are faced with an obstacle, a problem, a difficult situation, you're going to say things like, man, I can't think of anything. I don't know what to do. You'll hear people around you who just get frustrated because they can't creatively come up with anything. One reason, they haven't unleashed or practiced their use of imagination during non-critical and essential times. And during a pressure situation, we don't typically learn new tasks. We go back to what we have been doing already. So that's why it's wise to start that practice of unleashing your imagination. Stephen Covey, in one of his books, talks about I think it's under the topic of proactivity, that between something happening and our reaction to it, there is a gap. Many things exist in the gap. I'm only going to talk about imagination being one of those. So the more we become aware of the importance of using our imagination, the more powerful you will become when it comes to managing a difficult situation. Because between that crisis, between that experience happening that makes you just want to holler or throw up both your hands, and your reaction to it, there's a gap. The more knowledge and skills that you have in expanding the things in the gap, the more powerful you'll become. The power is in the gap. So here's how you can practice your imagination. Try doing things that you typically don't do by being imaginative about it. Reading a book you don't typically read. Listening to music you don't typically listen to. Practice behavior that you don't typically do. Simply, you remember I said this earlier, just going for a walk? Try that. Just go home a different way. Wear your clothes differently. Cook something different. Eat something different. Listen to a different type of a radio program. Do something to unleash your imagination so you can get out of the rut of the routine of doing the same thing over and over again. It's not the easiest thing to break a habit, but you can do it in small pieces. The power of this will be in the results that come, not in that act of creating a new meal, not in that act of wearing a new clothing design or writing a poem or writing a story or painting or something, but it's what that will do when it comes to you handling a crisis situation later on. You'll have that area open to you. You'd be surprised how powerful it is. A good friend of mine who listens sometime, one of my old stepping friends, I saw her post a piece of art. I didn't even know she had the skill of drawing and art, but she found a way to be creative. That act alone might allow you to discover that you have skills in areas you had no idea about. If you're a dancer, practice a new style of dancing, a new turn, a new combination, whatever. There's millions of things that's available if you unleash the possibility and remember that every moment there's possibilities around you just to be creative. Design your house differently. Move the furniture around. Anything to widen that gap between something happening and your reaction to it by unleashing your imagination and the ability that births from that of your creativity. That being said, I encourage you today to look for an opportunity to be creative. Look for an opportunity, and you're going to maybe have to work past some fear. The fear of, well, what are people going to think? They've always seen me dressed this way. They've always seen me look this way. I've always gone home this way. I've always gone to this store. Consider exploring the opportunities for trying something different to unleash your imagination. Work with the fear and the reaction that may come from other people. Create the opportunity. Don't wait for the as they say, when opportunity knocks, you don't wait for opportunity to knock. You open the door of opportunity yourself. Make the things happen that you would like to see happen. Next, consider the possibilities of what will happen if you become more powerful between that situation happening and your reaction to it. When everybody else around you is losing their cool, like one of the first pieces I did called If, when everybody's losing their head and blaming it on you, and you're able to keep a calm and imagine the possibility of, what if we resolved it this way? Why don't we try it? So you'll gain new strength and power just from your ability to use your imagination to handle a difficult situation. You have no idea how powerful that might become. Lastly, I want you to expect and experience miracles that will expand in your journey as you become more mindful, as you become more creative in your situation. I was just thinking of something I did, unleashing my creativity when I was working at a particular environment. Let me share this with you right quick. I was working in an environment, and it was an okay environment, but I needed to unleash my imagination. So at this particular company I was at, they never really acknowledged the employees that were there. So I thought, maybe I'm going to acknowledge the employees, and I'm going to start off by acknowledging myself. So I created a certificate and put it in the window of my office that said, "Congratulations, Employee of the Month," and put my name at the bottom of it. And there was no pushback because there wasn't another Employee of the Month. They hadn't did that. Well, it just made me feel good coming to my own office, seeing that I'm the Employee of the Month, even though I called it myself. It just made a better day. So there's all kinds of things that you can do to unleash your imagination and be creative. Be free. Have fun with it. Have fun with it and find some reason to smile today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for being a part of this. As always, share the message. If it doesn't work for you today, share it with somebody else. But if you heard something that might help you manage a situation, are you actually willing to try and do it? I hope so. Until then, until the next time we come together, travel well with respect.